Now, this is a problem I've seen hundreds of people have throughout the three different clubs I've started, the hundreds of games that have come out of them. And it's something that every new project lead runs into trouble with, which in that case is obviously for club recreational practice projects. Same thing absolutely applies whether you're starting a business, building a community, lots of different areas of life, designing something artistic, right? Whatever it is, it's about the importance of being able to make decisions to lead a vision, to plant a flag in the ground and say, this is what we're setting out to do, who's on board, instead of saying kind of wishy-washy, well, this could go any direction. Now, if you and I were trying to start a bus company, and we had two different ways we could position our product. One could say, get a ticket from us, and we'll take you east of here. And we're not clear about, maybe we don't even know because we haven't decided yet whether that bus stops 5 minutes east of here, 10 minutes east of here, 8 hours east of here, Eastern Coast, Eastern Europe, Far East, Middle East. We don't know. We just said east of here. As opposed to if our bus company's product said, buy a ticket from us, this bus is going to go to Miami. Even though there's more people who want to go places besides Miami that are east of here, nobody's getting on that bus unless they're crazy desperate to escape, right? Whereas if you say somebody's going to Miami, there will be some specific people who specifically want to get on a bus to go to specifically Miami. And that is why when you're just trying to lead a vision, you have to have decisions made. That you're not doing the people any favor to say, well, get on board and then we'll kind of feel out, where this is going to stop. Now, you can still pivot along the way because, of course, you're not really starting a bus company. It's maybe closer to stretch our analogy, a carpool scenario. Where if along the way, everybody in the car decides, you know what, let's take a detour through Atlanta. You know what, let's actually kind of enjoying the weather here in Colorado. Let's stop here and chill. You could do that. You could pivot as long as you have everybody on board, but that still had to start from people getting on that by deciding that here's the direction we're going together and then feeling it out from there. This is something that all the time, again, whenever, everyone's first time leading a project. So this is not picking on anybody in particular. I worked with people on this problem in 2004 and 2010, weeks ago. It consistently is a problem people have in their first time, and I think it's probably because it's a lack of practice in many people's lives with leadership. Part of what I love about these clubs is the way they give people actual leadership experience of having to declare and lead a vision, where at first they think, and it's coming out of the best of places, that they're going to create opportunities for others by leaving it open-ended to say, maybe it'll become a space shooter, but maybe it'll become kind of more of an RPG. The style could be pixelated, but it could also be graphic design. Maybe the protagonist is this, but maybe they're not, and maybe the story does this, and we can go anywhere with it. That doesn't, if it appeals to more people, it appeals to people dishonestly. Because what winds up happening is that everyone who gets on board is picturing a different outcome. Some people think it's going to become more of an action game, some people think it's going to become more of a puzzle game, some people think it's going to go the direction of pixel art, some people think it's going to go the direction of graphic design. They either have to fight it out amongst each other, or it keeps being unproductively stretched in competing directions, and no matter what, basically nobody's going to be happy with where it winds up because it's not accurate to what it was communicated to any of them in terms of what you're setting up in their brains. And again, to go back to our bus or our carpool situation, it'd be like, the bus going east, even if it's true that, again, more people want to go just somewhere east that's not Miami, even if we can trick those suckers into getting on that bus, nowhere it stops is going to please most of the passengers. And if anything, they're going to fight amongst each other to decide, no, we should go a little south of here. We should go a little further east. We should stop sooner. And nobody's going to be happy. There's no way that wins. It probably won't arrive at any single destination any of them had in mind because no one had communicated up front, here is what this is. Here's what this is about. And again, this has been important for the businesses that I've run. Another reason why this is important is that when you have a clear plan in mind and you say, hey, here's what we're going to do. And, people planned, okay, this trip was going to take X amount of time. You can make concrete pivots based on that. And so, again, in our game scenario, it's not saying that we're going to stick to the plan as we had it up front. We're all about not having a concrete design document carved into stone. We're all about keeping things adaptive. But if you had plans ahead of time of here's what we say we're going to do up front, but we're open to pivoting, well, now when you have those concrete discussions about what if actually we had this cool puzzle dynamic that kind of seems like it's emerging. What if we kind of leaned more into that? You can start looking at the schedule and say, okay, well, you know what? And the time we have left, here's what that would displace. Who on the team is up for this trade-off? Because we make that trade-off realistically based on what it's going to displace or push out of the schedule or rearrange or change what's being sacrificed for it. Versus when there's no vision at all in particular, that's why you wind up with these unraveling projects that never finish, that go on forever. And this is the case why, again, out of our clubs, we finish every game we start. Every single game from every one of these clubs, at least while I was at the helm, and now policies have sometimes changed after I leave. But when I'm at the helm, we finish the games that we start. And one way we do that is that when we make those sort of pivots, we keep to the schedule because people told us up front, we're here for 3 months, we're here for 5 months, we're here for 1 month, whatever it was. That's what they agreed to. That's what they had in mind. That's what they're planning around. We stick to that. We keep true to that, even if we pivot the direction. But you can only do that if you had a concrete plan in the first place. Another reason why it's beneficial, and this may be more zooming out from even just the game practice club project stuff, but really like the communities that I build or the businesses that I run and how I train people, for example. I remember early on when I was a trainer, I would just sort of like try to help anybody out with any programming question they had. I would do 1-hour sessions with people one time. I probably worked in maybe a dozen different programming languages in my first maybe 6 months as a trainer. Just eager to try to figure out, okay, where's the business here? Where's the niche here? Where are the people and what do they need from me? But that kind of exploration is good to find, okay, where's my customer and what do they need and how can I best serve them? That kind of approach, though, is not suitable to actually develop any meaningful depth. Because that means that prevented me from becoming a real expert in any one of those platforms to the point that I can now just effortlessly now. The reason I've narrowed it down to platforms for the club and platforms that will work with people on in private training is because now if someone has a JavaScript HTML5 Canvas question, if somebody has a Unity C# question, I either know the answer or I can look it up and help find it and dig for it in a way that's going to pay off for all future efforts. And likewise for even just skill positions. You know, I had people who would be companies where their games, they were at a point. They were trying to commercialize their company. That's not the type of game I really feel personally most enriched by being involved in. It's not the type of scale of company, the type of pressures, the type of schedules that I like working with. I like working with beginners. I like working with intermediate skill for recreational projects. Things where it's really driven by people build what they want to build. It's their own creative vision. It's fulfilling to them. They're not being bossed around or pulled around by market demands, by the boss, by the manager, by investors, even by customers. Because they're still at that phase, they get to explore and practice and do what they want to do their way. And that's something that deciding that is what I will work with people on has allowed me to develop increasingly better skills and depth and fluency and practice and capabilities and reputation around. That's what I do. And if you try to start a business that tries to serve everybody, it's not going to serve anybody well. It's not going to do anything particularly well. It's like a spork, half fork, half spoon, not a good one of either. You know what I'm saying? And you got to say, here's what I'm here to do. If it's not what you want, that's fine. Someone else out there can be what you're looking for. You know, the same thing happens. This is actually part of what I like about the Udemy courses, that they allow a depth of saying, okay, here's what I'm here to do for the next however many hours. We're going to follow through this in a way I can actually build in depth versus scattered YouTube tutorials. You can't even tell when people watching phase 3 have watched phase 2 or not, and know when people coming from all different vectors, and get the same problem we do with like magazine articles, blog entries, or TV shows. You can't build any depth because there's no sense of prerequisite of I can't tell what you've done beforehand. And so, you know, all these things kind of factor in there. But it's to say that when you plant a flag and say, here's what we're here to do, it helps you in so many ways. It helps you commit to it. It helps you get better at it. It helps others who want to be on a team potentially figure out if it's a match for what they want to be involved with and a part of. And again, you can still account for their input, still let them lead their part, still let them still have those discussions about pivoting on board. And the benefits derived from that clarity, those decisions, that communicated vision are immensely beneficial to both the business and to the people it's serving. To the community, to all of its members, to me as the leader of the community. It's something you have to do when you're leading a vision that's going to involve a group of people. Figure out, here's what we're going to do. Here's the vision I propose. We can dynamically adapt. We may not end up exactly where I say, but it's going to be up to the team. But when they get on board, let them know what they're signing up for. Not somewhere east, going to Miami. That's it for the day. Like I said, I got to go from the call. I set the alarms, slight warning right beforehand. Thanks as always for tuning in. I'll have another video for you all tomorrow. Bye for now.